Hello friends, and welcome to my latest video. Today I want to discuss with you my 5 favorite films of the year gone by, 2020. Now 2020 has been such a strange year for everyone. Most of us really haven't had the luxury of going to a movie theater and watching a movie there. We did a little bit of that till March when things changed, and almost all the movies we watched ever since have been indoors. And nevertheless, I'd like to talk about the 5 movies which really impressed me this year. And as it were, all these movies I have seen either on Netflix or on Prime or any one of the OTT channels actually. So here goes, and just let me clarify before I begin talking about the movies that these are my favorite 5 movies of 2020. Some of you may think otherwise. That's a subjective thing. And once again, it's not in any order. It's just the 5 in any random order. So the first movie I want to talk about is this movie called LOOTCASE. It's directed by Rajesh Krishnan and stars Kunal Khemu in the lead role. And it's a comic thriller, part drama, but it's a wonderful thriller-minute movie. Never slacks in pace, and it really came as a surprise because when I saw this movie, I really wasn't expecting much out of it, and it's one of the gems of the entire year for me. It's a story about a very simple man who works in a printing press in Bombay, and he lives a very ordinary life with his wife and son. And naturally, they're hard pressed for money, and it's not a luxurious life that he leads. It's a very basic, very mundane, very ordinary life that he leads. And what happens is when he finds a suitcase containing a huge amount of money lying outside one of the public loos in the city. And naturally, the money belongs to people from the underworld, where politicians are involved. And he just happens to find it by chance, and he keeps it with him hidden. And everything that follows after that, things start spiraling out of control, and he has the cops after him, the gangsters after him, politicians after him. And what happens in the end is what this movie is about. It's a fantastic movie. Brilliant performances by Kunal Khemu, Rasika Dugal, Ranveer Shori, Vijay Raz. I mean, it's got fabulous performances by everyone, and it's a real fun movie to watch. In case you haven't watched it, do watch it. It's one of the better movies of 2020, LOOTCASE. The next film, again, I think I saw this on Netflix. It's a murder mystery called RAAT AKELI Hai. It stars the immensely talented Nawazuddin along with Radhika Apte. And it's a very gritty and very well-made murder mystery of an influential elderly person who marries a woman of a questionable background, played by Radhika Apte. And on the wedding night itself, the man is found murdered, and he is the head of a pretty large family, and there are family politics and rivalries and undercurrents simmering across the family, and almost everyone is a suspect. But the prime suspect is the new bride of questionable repute, which is Radhika Apte. And the police officer assigned to the case is this deeply troubled individual, Nawazuddin. And it's very well made. It kept me guessing right till the end. I love murder mysteries, and so I have this habit of trying to figure out who the culprit could be. And in more cases than not, I'm sort of usually right. But this one had me guessing and had me stumped in the end. It's a very well made movie. It's available on Netflix, so do see it if you haven't. RAAT AKELI hai by Hani Trehan. The third movie I'd like to talk about is, although at the beginning of the video I said that these videos are not really ranked in any particular order, but personally speaking, the third movie is my favorite movie of 2020. It's a beautiful film called Thappad. It stars Taapsee Pannu in the lead role and is directed by Anubhav Sinha. You know, I must confess, when I first heard about Thappad and I heard people talking and raving about the movie, I was a little skeptical because I am uncomfortable about aggressive films on feminism. Let me put it that way without making it controversial. But I'm a little uncomfortable because I get a feeling seeing some of those movies that it's usually not very objective. There is a very strong bias in a lot of such films. I won't name them, but there have been a lot of such films made in recent times, which according to me, again a very personal opinion, but they have a strong bias, not very objective. Thappad is not like that. It's a brilliant film. It's got immense sensitivity the way it's been handled, and the performances are simply fabulous. I mean, Taapsee Pannu is absolutely brilliant. I'm sure most of you know about this film, but for those who haven't seen Thappad, it's about this happily married couple who live in an urban city, Bombay, and they are a relatively well-to-do couple, and a loving couple at that. And one incident takes place during a party at their home, which changes the dynamics between the couple, leading to the consequences which sort of make the whole film up. See it if you haven't. It is brilliantly made, beautifully acted, and as I said, the sensibility of the film, which is mainly the handiwork of the director Anubhav Sinha and the performance of Taapsee Pannu, is what makes this film so watchable. I won't rank the other 4 films that I'm mentioning in this list, but Thappad is definitely my number 1 film of 2020. Do watch it if you haven't seen it as yet. The next one is another huge favorite. Again, a film I watched with a lot of apprehension, and I really wasn't sure what I was getting into when I started watching the movie. It's a movie called LUDO, directed by Anurag Basu. Now, Anurag Basu, to me personally, is mixed bag. There are some films of his I really like, and there are some which have left me totally cold. So I really didn't know what to expect when I started watching LUDO. But LUDO is fascinating, and a friend of mine somewhere had said that life is like a game of chess is really not a very apt statement. A better statement would be life is like a game of Ludo. And after seeing this movie, I completely agree with my friend. Life is indeed like a game of Ludo. The aim is for everyone to get home. Everyone has their own different color, whether you're a red or a yellow or a blue or a green. And eventually the aim is cut anyone, kill anyone, do whatever, but get home safe. That's what this movie is about. It's got some fabulous characters. It's a beautiful movie. It's got thrill and romance and action and sentiments. It's got everything. It's got an ensemble cast of Abhishek Bachchan and a whole lot of others. Rajkumar Rao is brilliant as always. And it's such a fascinating watch. I mean, I watched Ludo more than twice, which is perhaps, other than Thappad, the only movie of 2020 that I've watched more than twice is Ludo. Don't miss it. I think Ludo came on Netflix as well. Do watch it if you haven't. You won't regret it. It's a brilliant movie, Ludo. The last movie I want to talk about is the last release of the immensely talented and gifted Irfan. It's called Angrezi Medium, and it's got Radhika Madan along with Irfan in the lead roles. It's a story of a father who runs a sweet shop, and his relationship with his daughter, who wants to study abroad. She wants to go to London and study, and he's a simple guy, runs a sweet shop, and naturally not very high on finances and stuff like that. And how he goes about trying to fulfill his daughter's dreams and ambition. And throughout the movie, the development of the relationship between the daughter and the father is brilliant till the time it reaches its absolutely fantastic conclusion. The end of the movie is so brilliant. And as I said earlier as well, Irfan to me is the best actor that came out of Indian cinema after Nasiruddin Shah. And when we see movies like Angrezi Medium, it just makes me miss him all the more. There was so much more Irfan could have given us, and he left us way too early. Way too early. Do watch Angrezi Medium. It's a beautiful movie. It's a wonderful movie, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it as much as I have enjoyed it watching it. So, well, these are my top 5 movies of 2020. Just to recap, they are Ludo, Thappad, LOOTCASE, RAAT AKELI Hai, and Angrezi Medium. Most of them are available either on Netflix or on Prime. No DVDs have come out of it. The DVD covers that I've made, they're just posters that I've put on a regular DVD box so that it's easier for me to make it visible for you. DVD releases haven't happened as yet for most of these films. I hope they come on DVD soon so that I can put it as a part of my physical collection. But till then, do check out your OTT channels to watch it. I also wanted to talk about 5 films of 2020 which disappointed me. I don't like calling them worst films of 2020, simply because I don't think I'm in a position to judge whether a film is worse or bad or terrible. I can only give my personal opinion. But then again, having said that, there is so much of hard work, so much of labor, so much of passion that goes into making every movie. It's quite unfair, I feel, for us to just sit back, relax at the comfort of our homes and say, oh, this is terrible, or this is so bad, or this is the worst movie of the year. I find that to be a tad too harsh and unkind. So I won't call these the worst movies of 2020, but I'll say that these were the movies that left me disappointed. Definitely left me disappointed. The first one may come as a surprise to some of you, but I'll still say that it was a disappointing movie for me. And the film is Gulabo Sitabo, which was premiered in Prime, starring Amitabh Bachchan and Ayushmann Khurrana. Now, the main problem with Gulabo Sitabo for me was the expectations. When you have a movie starring Amitabh Bachchan and Ayushmann Khurrana, directed by Shujit Sarkar, the expectations are really high. And if it falters there, it ends up being a disappointment. That's what Gulabo Sitabo was to me. Had it starred anyone else or been directed by someone who I really didn't know much about, I maybe wouldn't have seen the movie expecting so much. But given the entire setup, the banner, the cast, the director, I was expecting much more from Gulabo Sitabo, and frankly, it left me disappointed. Mr. Bachchan is he's an iconic character. Ayushmann is such a wonderful actor. Shujit Sarkar, no words for him really. So when the three of them get together and I see the end result as Gulabo Sitabo, it's kind of underwhelming to me. So that was a disappointment. The second disappointment would definitely be Love Aajkal, the second part. One of the main reasons is it's made by Imtiaz Ali. When I want to watch a romantic movie, Imtiaz Ali is the first director I will go to, and especially given the first Love Ajkal was as good as it was, the second one comes as a disappointment. And my first reaction after seeing the movie was, why did he have to make this? If I just had to see the same thing again, I would have rewatched the Saif Deepika Rishi Kapoor starrer. Why did he have to remake this with Kartik Aaryan and Sara Ali and Randeep Hooda? So there was nothing new said in the movie. There was nothing that really excited me or made me you know say that, oh wow, this is, yeah, he's given it a new take. Or the performances of Kartik Aaryan was very good. Sara Ali I thought was brilliant in Love Ajkal 2. But overall, when I finished seeing the movie, I just thought that I just saw a pale version of the original. And that's a pity, because I rather still see the original then and not this pale version. So yeah, Love Ajkal 2 was the disappointment. The third movie which disappointed me a lot was Lakshmi Bomb, starring Akshay Kumar. I have I have a confession to make. It was so bad that I couldn't finish the movie. It was, I tried my best to go through it. I couldn't finish the movie. It was so bad. So I probably, my view is not a very objective one, considering I've not seen the entire movie. But I doubt the movie would have gotten any better from the point I left watching it. So terrible movie for me personally. The other disappointment of the year was a movie that I was really, really looking forward to, which is SADAK 2, starring Sanjay Dutt and Alia Bhatt. I was really excited about it, not because I'm a huge fan of the original SADAK. I wasn't a huge fan of that movie to begin with. But I was excited more for the fact that Mahesh Bhatt was back directing a movie after over 2 decades. And that, to me, someone who's watched movies of the 70s and 80s and 90s, was huge incentive to watch SADAK 2. That Mahesh Bhatt is, making a comeback to direction with this movie. That's the reason I was looking forward to SADAK 2. Also because of Sanjay Dutt and the hugely talented Alia Bhatt. So I was really expecting something good. The initial feedback to the trailer and the worst IMDb rating and everything should have warned me. But I took all that with a pinch of salt, and I said, no, I need to watch the movie and figure out what it's all about. And the end result was utter disappointment. I couldn't believe that someone as insightful and intelligent as Mahesh Bhatt could actually still carry that huge hangover of the 90s and make this movie. I mean, this movie would have looked outdated even in the 90s. Had it been released in the 90s, it would have looked outdated even then. So I really don't know what got into Bhatt Saab to make this movie after so many years of not directing a movie. But it ended up being a disappointment, SADAK 2. The most disappointing movie of 2020 came right at the end of 2020 in December. And it was a movie I was really, really looking forward to. And that is David Dhawan's Coolie #1. Because all said and done, David Dhawan is a huge, huge personal favorite. I think it requires an immense amount of talent and skill to make the kind of masala movies David Dhawan made. The one big ammunition David Dhawan had with him those days was Govinda. And when you see Coolie #1, you realize, you realize the worth of Govinda, because here he has Varun Dhawan, his son, essaying the same role. And I'm sorry to say, but he's not a patch. He's not a patch on Govinda. And again, like Love Aajkal too, my problem was that David Dhawan ended up remaking his earlier classic without adding anything to it, without modernizing it, without, at least changing some elements in it. It was almost as if he had the DVD of the original movie running and he asked Varun Dhawan and Sara Ali to just go about the motions. It was terrible. It was terrible. I really was disappointed. Govinda, Karishma Kapoor, Kadir Khan, Shakti Kapoor, and they were Sadashiv Amrapurkar. They were absolutely brilliant in in Coolie number one. It's a mindless masala movie, but it's so enjoyable. I'm not really looking for content or stuff like that. When I'm seeing a David Dhawan movie, I'm just looking for entertainment. And I'm sorry to say, Coolie number one, the new one, doesn't entertain. As simple as that. So, these were my 5 most disappointing movies of 2020. Just to recap once more for you, the 5 favorite films of mine would be LOOTCASE, LUDO, ANGREZI Medium, RAAT AKELI Hai, and THAPPAD. And the disappointing movies would be SADAK 2, Love Aajkal, GULABO SITABO, LAXMI Bomb, and Coolie number one. I don't know whether you all will agree with my lists or not, but definitely if you haven't seen some of the movies, especially the 5 good ones that I mentioned, if you haven't seen them, do try and watch them. As I said, they're all available on OTT. And as far as the disappointing ones, if you haven't seen them, let me tell you, you aren't missing much. That's all for this week. I'll see you again. Till then, bye-bye.